We're going to go ahead and get started. So, again, welcome to the Evidence Show. We thank you for being here. We're really excited about this week's episode. We think it's going to be fun, and hopefully, it's something we're going to kick off and do as often as we can or
Yeah.
periodically. So, I'm Shawn Henderson. James Nally is with us. We've got a special secret guest that you can't see. We'll introduce her in just a second. But I kind of want to go through kind of the same things that I always go through. I'm going to switch things up someday, maybe move a slide around. But one of the goals of doing this, or actually the primary goal, is to get evidence custodians and evidence managers around the country kind of connected to build a sense of community, a place where
Yes.
you can get questions answered, maybe see how things are done differently in different regions around the country. And
Absolutely.
we just think that there is value in that. So, one of the best ways to do that right now is to go onto the Facebook and join that community evidence management community forum. It's a great place to get questions answered, to talk about things, just to post, vexing problems. I know I got a call yesterday from Nebraska, and they have this particular agency has about 200 pounds of fentanyl that they need to dispose
Wow.
of. And they got
Wow.
nothing. They got no resources. They're willing to drive as far as Texas or Oklahoma to get rid of this stuff. But the evidence management, the community forum is a great place to log in if you're from Omaha, Nebraska, or anywhere else in the country and get an answer to that question, or at least find out what other people around you do.
Hmm.
Because every single one of us is going to be faced with a problem that we've never seen before. 200 pounds of fentanyl might be one of them. And that's just a great place to throw the question out. Uh, so that's kind of one of the main reasons, or one of the main benefits of that forum, is just having a place to ask those weird questions. Um, so log in early and often. Also want to give a shout out to Tracker Products. This is possible because they help make it possible. You can learn more about Tracker Products. They're an evidence management software company, and you can find out more about them at trackerproducts.com. And always like to mention that before I begin because they keep the lights on, and there's value in that. Um, James and I are with evidencemanagement.com. We do training and consulting, and we would be more than happy to do one or both with you and your agency. But I just kind of like the clean, stark look of that, so I keep the slide in there. You can find out more about us and what we do at evidencemanagement.com. But today, one of the failures of this whole experiment has been keeping track of the number of episodes. I think it's somewhere between 13 and 17, but we're going to call this episode number 13.
I'll go with
And
that.
yeah, this lucky number 13. And this is live-ish from Huntington Beach. And this episode today this is James's brainchild, so I don't know why I'm talking over everything. But we're going to do a cool agency spotlight. We'll talk about more about what that is very soon. And just a few housekeeping items. If you've got questions as we go, or specifically questions about uh, either the agency that we're talking about during the spotlight, or just questions in general, if you would throw those into the question window. Oh, we got more hellos from Wisconsin, New Mexico. Very cool. Ohio, Las Vegas,
Yep.
uh, Androscoggin, Maine. Love Maine. Uh, and then Wildwood, Florida. Russell is in from Wildwood. Hello again, Russell. We're glad you're here. So we'll just go ahead without further ado and get started. But if you have questions throughout for our guest, or for James or myself, or just something that you want to ask about the nature of life and existence as it pertains to evidence, please ask those questions and we'll do our level best to provide a response. Um, so what are we talking about today? We want to give you some quick updates, and then we'll throw it over to James to discuss the main topic, and our special guest today. So the first thing I want to mention is that live training is really live again. We're excited to announce we've got 7 different dates. One of them is closed-ish. I mean, it's not closed, but it's an IAPEM, the Illinois Association for Property Evidence Management. It's their conference. We'll be training there with them. But we're really excited about our California World Tour. That's where we're going to kick things off. We're going to take a tour of the West Coast in June. Starting June 21st and 22nd, we'll be in beautiful Corona, California, and we'll do our 2-day class there. Then we'll pack up and go to Visalia County the 24th and 25th. We would really love to teach to full rooms. It's much more fun that way. It is so it's unnerving and weird to teach to no one, which we've been doing for a year now, just teaching to a screen. So we're really looking forward to teaching to humanoids in a physical space, and there's just so much value in that, and networking and being actually in a room with other people dealing with your same issues and struggles. Please sign up often, tell your friends, even people who aren't evidence custodians. Just tell them to sign up. Tell them it's a, I don't know, a get rich quick scheme or training or something, but we need people to attend because that's what makes the wheels roll round. After we go through California, we'll be in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and then later in June, July, we're going to hit Oviedo, Florida, the Orlando area. So July 13th and 14th. Then we'll come back to my stomping grounds in Carrollton, Texas, and we will be at a cool venue, the actual Plaza Theater in old downtown Carrollton, where I saw The Cat from Outer Space for the first time. After they closed it down and gutted it, they've turned it into a pretty cool venue. And then later on, early fall, we'll be in Wayne, New Jersey, and we're excited. We can add some more dates, but we really want to see if people are coming back to training after the pandemic. So we'll add some more dates as they come available. I've already had a few people reach out and say, hey, could you come do a class up here? And right now, the answer is probably maybe. We would love to come out. We just need to make sure that there are people there that want us to be there. And that if the answer is yes to that, then we're down and we will be there post haste. Again, I've never had anyone take me up on this, but if you're in a tropical area or a beach area, we will attend and we will teach. But we don't even need people. Fiji, there's someone from Fiji on the air or on the line. We'll come to
Guam.
Fiji. So
I think we have some Guam folks, property folks from Guam.
Guam will do.
Yeah.
So as we move forward, I'll turn it over to James to introduce our guest and our topic today. And after you introduce James, you just tell me when to roll the slide forward, and
Okay.
I will do that.
All right. Thanks, Shawn. And by the way, training with Shawn is incredible. The content is not just about what you're doing, but it's about the right way to do things, and coming from a more passionate perspective. You just have to take a look at his standards. It's just an amazing class. That's about all I'm going to say for right now. As far as our new segment called Agency Spotlight, I think everyone will enjoy this because it started from an idea a long time ago, back when I was participating with the California Association of Property and Evidence. Just hearing the same things as we travel around the state, hearing the same complaints about we never get enough training, we are understaffed, just all the unfortunate negative things that go with our industry. And so I really wanted to provide a platform to let agencies share the positive things that they do, whether they have a really cool process or some kind of tech that they use that helps create efficiency in their workplace. So a variety of things, even if you just work in a cool city and you want to showcase what it's like to work and live in a cool city. So even the cool people that you work with. So anyway, without further ado, we created Agency Spotlight to just give different property rooms a platform to kind of showcase anything special in their unit. And today we're going to be taking a look at Huntington Beach Police. We have our special guest today, Melissa Hartley. She's the property evidence supervisor and a longtime friend of mine. She's always been passionate about evidence, and she's been involved with CAPE in the Orange County chapter, and she's also a certified inspector for auditing. So are you on the
I am. Thank you.
Maybe. Welcome, Melissa, and thank you for participating with our first agency spotlight.
Thank you.
I don't think I'd want to have a different city to premiere agency spotlight because Huntington Beach is such a unique town. Do you want to talk a little bit about it before we roll the video?
Well, we are a coastal town, as you had heard. We have a pretty large population in our city. We have 197,000 regular residents here. In the summertime, our population increases to over 1 million people daily.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Awesome, awesome. Well, Shawn, if you're ready, I think we should go ahead and get the agency spotlight rolling there.
All right, this is brand new. I'm sure it's going to work perfectly. So
Hey guys, James Nally here with Evidence Management Institute, and I'm excited to welcome you to the first episode of Agency Spotlight. EMI's Agency Spotlight is all about providing a platform to showcase something special in your property and evidence unit. Maybe you have some cool technology, special types of storage systems, or even a unique process that you'd like to share. I'm sure just like at my agency, we're always looking for ways to streamline our processes and increase our accuracy, accountability, and efficiency. Or maybe you have just a cool place to work with amazing coworkers. We want to hear about it and maybe feature your unit in our next episode. Today I'm in the incredible city of Huntington Beach, California, home to the US Open of Surfing and the Great Pacific Air Show. I'm in front of the PD right now, and I'm ready to go inside. So come along with me as we see what makes HBPD's evidence unit so great. All right, we're here in Huntington Beach, the property room, with my longtime friend Melissa Hartley, who supervises the property evidence unit, and also our property technician Don Curran-Tubb. Kind of came in today just to talk to HB about what they have in their evidence room and anything that they might really be proud of, something that's standout. But before we get into that, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa to tell you a little bit about her city.
Thank you. Huntington Beach is a very unique town. We have a population of approximately 197,000 people. Our police department has 173 officers, 107 civilian staff. Our property unit at this time, we have 4 employees, and we accept approximately 1,500 items of evidence each month, and we purge approximately 1,700 items of evidence each month.
Wow, that's awesome. And how many staff you have?
We have 3 full-time and 1 part-time.
3 full-time, 1 part-time. That's pretty incredible. Do you have anything in your unit that might be a good story or something maybe infamous or of high value that you guys want to talk about?
No, nothing I can think of.
Okay, okay.
But you guys had a Picasso, right?
Picasso? Yeah, let me think. Oh, you know, there was a tagger named Picasso, so we had quite a bit of his stuff in our unit. But I'm sure they don't want to hear about that. Well, what are we here to talk about today?
Well, we'd like to share with you the importance of purging your evidence and working with your investigation division to be able to do that.
So important.
Yes, we also want to talk about how important it is to be willing to try new techniques within your storage facility and the importance to look at continual growth within your facility.
Outstanding, outstanding. And how does that translate in terms of dispositions? What new or unique process are you doing right now with dispositions?
Right now we track. We also make sure that we're getting on the court management system, and we're constantly looking to see which cases are closed, which cases have been rejected by the DA's office, And we go from there, and we keep in constant contact with our detectives.
So in other words, you're taking a proactive approach to disposition. You're taking a look and researching the cases so that by the time you send the paperwork to the investigator, they pretty much, all the work is pretty much done for them, right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Well, also there's a few other things going on in your unit right now. Dawn, you want to talk about that?
Well, we've also, before COVID hit, we got a nice Prop 69 grant, and we decided looking at different ways to store things, we are now going to be storing all of our homicide freezer evidence separately, all of our sexual assault freezer evidence separately, and then a third freezer for everything else. So we're going to have 3 separate freezers, thanks to Prop 69.
That's huge. You know what? Some of our viewers from other states may not know what Prop 69 is or how that works, or they may have something similar in their state. So can you maybe explain a little bit about how 69, how the funds are divided? You know?
Yeah, the Prop 69, it's to help maintain the evidence of DNA evidence.
Right.
You know, predominantly came about with sexual assault, but we're also seeing a lot more of it with cold cases. As our DNA technology has gotten better, they're able to go back and look at some of the older evidence and use it to store cold cases.
Sure.
What we found we originally had 2 freezers, and with storing everything together, different boxes, but everything was together, we found that when we went to go purge, these different types of crimes have different purging requirements. Homicide evidence pretty much sticks around forever.
Sure.
So if we have a dedicated place where it can just sit on the shelf and not get moved and jostled, we don't have to worry about degradation of packaging.
Sure.
And then the same with our sexual assaults. We try to store everything in relative DR order. So we have our different years. We try to keep our different years together. And then we'll be able to quickly look at our freezer area and see, oh yeah, this is stuff we need to take a look at, see if it's coming up for statute, see if it's time to send the letters, for the detectives to send the letters to the victim and say, we're getting ready to get rid of this evidence.
Wow.
And it increases the integrity of the evidence because it is handled less than our normal day-to-day vehicle burglary swabs.
Right. No, that's great. Obviously proactive in the way they process evidence and the way they store evidence. And we're going to go take a look right now at the way they disposition evidence as well. But before we do that, I did want to kind of put Melissa on the spot with a unique thing that their agency does. And I'm a big fan of it. And I hope one day that more agencies will kind of jump into this. Do you want to talk a little bit about your found property?
Well, what we've decided to do, since paper print posting has declined so dramatically, we now post all of our found property on our Huntington Beach City website. You can go right on there, you can look up for each month, because we hold found property for 90 days. After the 90 days, that spreadsheet will drop right off the website, and we go ahead and we purchase the property at that point, whatever's remaining.
That's huge. That's huge. And again, for some of our viewers in other states that may not understand how California law works, the California Civil Code basically states that any found property that comes into a unit with over the value is over $250, after you hold it for 90 days and nobody's claimed it, then we're responsible for posting an ad in a publication of some sort. It actually says newspaper, but you know, in these modern times, there's not really that many newspaper publications anymore. So Huntington Beach has taken a proactive approach to that again and putting it on their website. Now I would assume you don't put the whole description of it, right?
Don't.
So it's just a vague description,
Yeah.
and people can call in and claim it if it belongs to them.
Right. We want to leave some of the information off so they can identify the item, and we know for certain that they're the owners.
And if I may interject,
Sure.
we just don't do it for items over 250.
Correct.
We do it for all of our found
Outstanding.
items.
I love it.
And that way, when people lose their driver's license or their phone, when they call us, they can already say, well, I'm showing item number, boom, is an iPhone. And then we can go to them and say, well, what color is the iPhone? What does your splash screen
Right,
have?
right.
And so they are armed with information when they call us, which reduces our
Right.
time for searching.
I'm sure some of our viewers are probably like, oh, what was that? How do we put that on our website? Call the IT guy. Let's get him on the line. That's a great proactive approach to found property, and I appreciate the way you guys are so vested in running your evidence unit and working in evidence. Also, Dawn is going to be retiring shortly. How much longer do you have?
Less than 3 months.
Less than 3 months. And how long have you been in the evidence unit?
I have been with the department for 21 years.
Wow.
And I've been with evidence and control for 6 years. Yes.
Good for you. That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, come on, folks. We're going to take you on a tour of the property evidence room.
Welcome to Huntington Beach Property Room. This is our working area, our office area. As Melissa said earlier, we have 3 full-time property officers and 1 part-time officer. Our part-time property officer deals in bikes. She does all the investigation on our lost, found, stolen, recovered bikes. We're a tourist city, so we get a lot of bikes. This window here is where we assist our officers. This is the evidence prep room. One of our unique things here is we have a Faraday box for iOS items. So if they have a iPhone that they want to get information off, we have little Faraday Lockers there that they can use to plug it in and keep it charged. And then we have the software to break into it. Come on on, I'll show you the rest. This is where the 3 property officers, the full-time officers work. We each have our area. Obviously we're in close quarters. We work together quite a bit. We help each other. We bounce ideas off each other all day long. And then welcome to our main evidence storage area. This is our main evidence storage area. We have our lockers. We have a little small section for corrections, things we're talking to officers about. We store evidence in boxes. We keep our DR numbers on the outside to make it quick and easy for us to find them for these main shelves out here. Our first row here is our gun storage area. We're particularly pleased with it. We've got all of our handguns in case order. All of our long guns are also in case order. It allows us to quickly hone in on those items that need to be looked at for destruction. We mark all of our boxes, our found, safekeeping, and destruction boxes. We go ahead and put little tags on those so we can follow up with them. A little bit further down, we have our media storage. We don't store a whole lot of media. Most of that is uploaded in our media storage lab, but some things just need to have a CD kept in evidence. So we keep them all together. CDs are all together. They don't get broken because they're all the same size, packaged the same way. Fits nice and neat. Same kind of thing with our knife storage. So our knife storage, we keep them all, again, case order. Helps us with purging. We know what the oldest stuff is. We can look. We have 2 different types of storage areas. We have bigger evidence, which is boxes like this, in some of our rows. And then we also have small items in some of our rows. So the things with our small items, we put everything in a 9x12 envelope just to kind of keep everything nice and neat and together. It helps us when we go to find stuff. Everything is right there. We separate our evidence by drug evidence and then general evidence. This is just everything else.
So I'm taking a look at this unit now, and I'm seeing just amazing difference from the last time I was here. I just want to tell you, in 2014, the last time we came as part of a Cape tour, I remember that your unit was a little bit in disarray. I remember that we had a lot of different storage compartments all over the apartment, and a big Connex warehouse in the outside area for dry storage. I think this is amazing now. What you guys have accomplished is incredible. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. In 2014, we began a major purge. Part of the reason was we had 2 property officers here. We were understaffed at the time. We needed detectives to make decisions on cases. So our administration, the property officers, and the investigation division, we all worked together. We cleared out in a 5-year period about over 100,000 items.
Wow.
Okay, Okay, here's our new homicide freezer. Obviously, it's still under construction, but we hope to have it done in 2, maybe 3 weeks. And then we can start moving our homicide evidence into it. It's going to be fully lighted. We're going to have shelves on either side and some in the back. Everything will be nice and labeled by case number, and can sit in there until it's ready for appeal or Innocence Project, or until we're ready to destroy it.
So another item very unique for the Huntington Beach Police Department property unit is we have our own disposal room. This is our disposal room here, so anytime narcotics, firearms, auctionable items are going to be prepared for disposal, we come in here. We have different cages for each type, and we separate them out based on final disposition.
Well, folks, that's about all the time I have today. I'd like to offer a very special EMI thanks to the Huntington Beach Police Department, along with our hosts, Melissa and Dawn. If you'd like EMI's Agency Spotlight to come to your unit, please feel free to email me at the email address below. As always, thank you for your amazing work and protecting the truth.
All right. Oh, whoops. I am unmuted.
We're back.
Yes. So thanks for that. Hopefully you could all hear most of it. I know a couple people were having audio issues.
Yeah,
I was playing it, so obviously I could hear it on my end. But yeah, thanks, James, and thank you, Melissa. So
my pleasure.
couple of things I wanted to do. If you've got questions specifically for Melissa or for James, start typing those in. I always see I always see new things that that I like to kind of add to my toolbox when I visit new property rooms. For me, my favorite thing at Huntington Beach and the first, I mean, was that disposal room, an entire room,
Absolutely.
secure, locked up. That's a thing of beauty. It makes me
That
want to
is.
cry. So let me check the question window, and James, I'll let you kind of take it from here, and I'll just.
Yeah, Melissa, if you're still there, there's a question from Kara Bishop asking if you freeze all your homicide evidence, if you can maybe speak to that.
We do not freeze all of our homicide evidence. We freeze anything that we think may have workable DNA on it. Over the years, of course, we have cases that we're presently storing that go back to 1969. So as these cases are looked at various times throughout its lifespan with us, sometimes we'll go ahead and we'll move those items into the freezer and hope that we can get something. We want to quit it from degrading any further than it may already be.
Perfect, perfect. And what about Faraday lockers that you have? You know, I could step into this for a minute. It's again from Kara Bishop. You know, we have a new product in our unit as well that's called a lock blocker, and that seems to be working really well with us. It's basically a locker that's got electrical attachments inside of each locker so that you can put a phone in a Faraday bag and then plug the bag into power, so it stays powered on at all time. And those are made by Block Locker, if you just Google that. But as far as your unit, Melissa, what type of devices do you have for Faraday?
That's exactly what we have too. We have the lockers for all of our electronic iOS type equipment. And then
Gotcha.
we go ahead and we notify when our officers book that in there to book it directly into those lockers. They're not going into the property lockers that have the opening in the back where we remove it. We leave it in there. We never remove it, but we do get the evidence card out of there. We make sure that there's the entry in our tracking system, and then we notify our forensics lab, and they come on down and they retrieve the item and they hook it up and start doing their analysis.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's a new trend in evidence is some of the software, the unlocking software for iPhone requires that the phone stay power on from the time of collection, which as you could tell would create somewhat of an issue with chain of custody and having a envelope sealed with that bag inside. So what we're doing is just cutting a little hole at the bottom of the envelope to allow for the power cord to attach to the bottom of the phone, and then gently setting that inside the Faraday bag, and then closing and locking the locker. Specifically for these new cases in California, where we are going after the drug dealers on narcotics. So it's a big, important thing, and hopefully we can get through this and create some new procedures for the handling of digital media. Shawn, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's Faraday bags and digital evidence and preserving digital evidence. I mean, that's something that changes kind of weekly with new technology. And,
Absolutely.
and we don't have, I mean, we teach in our 2-day class, we will talk about digital evidence preservation and practices and Faraday bags. But the one thing I would one little warning, there are a couple of different products called Faraday bags. I learned the hard way, as I've learned almost all of my lessons. A Faraday bag can be designed as an anti-static bag, or it can be a bag that's designed to repel radio, or to prevent radio frequencies from penetrating the package. I know that there is a lot of information out there. There's a lot of dialogue and a lot of talk. Some people wrap their phones in foil 4 or 5 times to prevent signals. And while that might anecdotally be okay, and I know that there are some entities out there that teach and train that, I'm reluctant to make any guidance or teach anything unless I know that it's been verified. Typically, hopefully by a lab or by some source more knowledgeable than me on the topic. So that doesn't answer the question, but that's certainly something that we're going to cover in a future show. Digital evidence
Digital evidence,
preservation and
huge.
disposition, because it's huge, and there's so many different forms of digital evidence. It changes daily, but there are some practices and principles that apply. But we'll definitely be covering that in a future show.
Yeah.
All right, I'm filtering through that Proposition 69. Could y'all explain that, Melissa or James?
Melissa, do you want to take that one, since you're the administrator for your Prop 69?
Prop 69, it's funding that's made available through California, and it allows agencies to request money based on their specific wishes that would allow them, since DNA processing now is such a big thing, whereas 15 years ago it wasn't. There's a lot more needs for it. So we need ways to store it. We need sometimes we need additional people to help handle it, anything like that. So you go before a board, you request this funding for your unit, you have to justify it. They review it, and yay or nay, they let you know, and they let you know what they're willing to grant you. And so far we've had 2 opportunities, and both times we've been able to be granted a significant amount of money.
Right. And as far as in my unit, we've been able to secure funding for everything from the modular shelving to additional brand new boxes, to anything that has to do with the storage or maintenance of DNA evidence. And typically, the board is made up of people on your forensic at your lab. So if you have folks at your lab, you may want to ask them, as far as in California at least, where the money goes, the funding for Prop 69.
And I don't know how many states have programs like that. It's great that California does. I know in Texas, and we all across the nation, everyone deals with biological evidence and the need to preserve biological evidence for extended periods of time. So it's great that y'all have something. In Texas, we have something called a big bag of nothing. We have absolutely no support unless you're a tiny agency in a rural county, and if that's the case, then actually the state lab or our DPS lab will store that evidence for you. And I have worked with a few agencies that have had success with that program. So really look into the available programs in your state. They might not be able to send you a bunch of money or fund something for you, but there might be provisions, especially if you're a smaller agency or an agency that can demonstrate need in a particular area. Uh, there are ways to accomplish these things. That's one of the things we like to teach in our training classes. How do we solve these problems? I mean, funding things is not difficult, but if you get creative and you look for alternate sources or different sources, a lot of times you can find solutions to those problems. There was a question about just funding the new evidence room itself. How did y'all get the money for that? Was that a
Are you referring to how it looks now compared to what it did years ago?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. We didn't search for funding, I'll be really honest. What we did was we knew it was a mess in there. It was very disorganized. If you recall looking back at the photos, there was one with the gorilla racks, and they had paper bags shoved on top of one another. Well, we got into a position where we would need to find a certain item. We were pulling out 100 bags to be able to find one item. It's ridiculous. So over time, we decided we need an outsider to come in here and look at everything. So we had California Post come in here. They came in, and a few years later, LD Consulting came in. They gave us their different evaluations. Each time we would start to improve upon their suggestions. Then we got to a certain point where our property unit, we went ahead and we followed our chain of command, and we had those difficult open conversations that this is how our property room looks right now. We're drowning in here. He went ahead, he looked over everything. We talked about what can we do, how can we do it. He took that to our senior staff. He spoke with them in quite detail, and they agreed. Your property and evidence unit will bring down your department. So our command staff stepped in, and they were willing to, whatever it takes, however many people you need to help you, let's do this.
That's awesome.
So it was very awesome, but it was the open conversation with them. We had to be honest and open. It wasn't that we couldn't do our jobs, but we needed help.
Absolutely. And I think that's so key. I mean, is demonstrating the need. You got to let people know that you have problems so that they can help you solve them. Now, was that disposition room, was that part of that? Or was that something that came after or that was new?
That actually came quite a bit later. So we started our whole giant purging process in 2014. And for the major purging occurred all the way through mid-2017. It's a huge undertaking. When we got our first Prop 69 grant funding, we were able to do that because the area that we had been utilizing, we needed to utilize for DNA storage. So that gave us the ability we actually took that room from SWAT, which was wonderful. But
win-win.
We were able to I know, that never happens.
No.
But we were able to gut that room and design it the way that we wanted and how we thought it would work best. If you see everything, it's completely under camera, it's monitored, and it has the electronic fob access. And we just wanted to progress. We wanted to improve what our structure currently had been. But, there again, it was the grant funding that allowed us to do that. And just because, it's a property room, don't just look at it like that. You also have other areas where you can be looking for any type of funding, not just your storage, but there's funding we might be able to get for those out in the field that are collecting the evidence. How about your lab? So we just need to have a very global view.
Absolutely. Well, that is a beautiful facility. I mean, I love that disposition room. It makes me, like I say, it makes me want to cry. Because it's just, I mean, it's a great example of doing things well and doing things right. I think there are a couple more questions out here. I want to go down the list. I think I might have gotten them.
Yeah,
And
one
for
thing
those of you, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. One thing I wanted to mention, I know Melissa's being very humble and being on our webinar today, but I think a lot of it with agencies, there's a disconnect between the property unit and your command staff, your upper echelon of your command staff, and working diligently and respectfully to get your point across without appearing to be, overbearing. It's really tough, and I think part of Melissa's charm is that she was able to have those conversations and be kind of negotiate and do things in a way that that presented her case well. So my hat's off to her and her agency as well.
And I think
Thank
it's
you.
also, oh, sorry, also key that, you have to choose the way that you handle these things, and you have to choose kind of the high road. I mean, transparency, openness, admitting that you have problems. I mean, I think for me personally in my history, the way that I was able to be successful getting huge changes at our agency is I had to change everything about me, because I was a scorched earth kind of guy. And as a street supervisor, the worst among offenders when it came to evidence management. But I had to realize that it's more important for me to be effective than it is for me to do things the way I'm naturally wired. So I had to learn a little dose of humility in order to get people to collaborate with me. And it looks like y'all are doing a beautiful job there. And James, I mean, I think James and I are both in agreement. We love stories like this. We love seeing things work well.
Absolutely. Yes,
I think that's one of the things that characterizes kind of what we do and how we train is we're looking for solutions, and we're looking to help people find solutions. You'll find that throughout our training, and hopefully the stuff you see on the webinar is there are a lot of good things going on. There are a lot of ways to solve these problems. We don't need to come on here and tell you that things can get bad or that things are serious or that there are ramifications from doing this poorly or wrong. You already know that, or you wouldn't be tuning in.
absolutely.
And we want to use this as an opportunity to tell those stories. So if you're proud of something, if you would like to see your agency or show off something about your agency, we would love to come out and we will learn how to do this. I know that there were audio issues, maybe some video latency issues for some people. We'll keep working on that. I'm just surprised it worked at all because I had to download it, and that is not my forte, but we're going to continue to do this, and we're going to continue to go out there and tell stories about people doing things well. Melissa, I want to thank you for being on and for letting us take a peek at Huntington Beach. It's a beautiful facility, and look forward to seeing more.
Thank you,
Great. Thank you
Melissa.
for letting me come on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned earlier, James and I are going to be doing our California World Tour in just a couple of weeks, and we are hopeful that there are people there when it happens. That's the goal. So I want to talk about the next time on the Evidence Show. We're going to do a show on June 17th at 2 p.m. Central. We think that date is fairly solid. We had to move some dates around for training classes. We're actually going to be teaching when we plan the next class. So stay tuned to the schedule. Next time we're going to be talking about something really big we've been planning to think about. And that is as specific as I am willing to be right now, but it's going to be cool. You just have to attend and decide for yourself. What I'll talk about also before we get off the phone, or not off the phone, but off the line, one of the things that I would love to do with this particular, I like to do things that are nice and fun and at least encourage people and thank them for attending. We've got 7 classes scheduled so far throughout the nation. And since we have people from all across the country, if you're interested in a free spot, a free training spot, we would love to give one of those out if you're listening live. So just send us an email, and James and I, we're going to meet tomorrow morning and discuss it. And, we'll pick from whoever is in there, but if you've got a compelling reason or a particular class that you would like to attend, we'll try to get one person in for free. So that's kind of like we'll throw out, flood our inbox. We would
Please
love to
do.
hear from you,
Yeah.
and we'll make that decision tomorrow, and we'll let you know directly and personally. Um, our next schedule coming up, June 17th, July 22nd, August 26th, and September 23rd. We will have world-changing content for you every week that I'm sure will change the way you perceive reality. So I just want to thank you for being here and for paying attention. Thank you to Huntington Beach PD and to Melissa Hartley for giving us the opportunity to peek in there. And James, you got any final parting thoughts?
No, no. Until next time, I just say thank you to all the folks that came to give us a shot today, and hopefully see you in class soon.
Thank y'all for being here. We will see you next time. I'm going to hang up. I guess I'll always use phone metaphors. I'm not hanging up. I'm going to press a button to make this thing stop. So check us out online. If you missed part of this, it will be online somewhere on our website, hopefully tomorrow, which if you're watching this tomorrow, that doesn't make any sense at all. But thank you for being here. I'm going to hit
All
stop
right. Have a great
and
day, everyone.
we'll holler at you